in right now. Lock, go to it. It's coming in right now. Molly, take it. Thanks.
Thank you for coming here today to help us celebrate the safe recovery of 6-day-old Kayden Powell. As you know, Kayden was taken from his residence in the early morning hours yesterday, and we have been working non-stop since that time, hoping for this day. At approximately 10:15 this morning, Police Chief Mike Horahan, West Branch, Iowa Police Department, found Kayden in a tote bag, swaddled in blankets, at a gas station near Interstate 80. Despite frigid temperatures, Kayden was found alive and appears to be doing very well. In the words of EMS officials, he is in excellent health. Kayden's family has been notified of this fantastic news, and our efforts now center on reuniting the family with Kayden. Our investigation will continue until all potential leads have been exhausted. This outstanding investigation was a model of collaboration and cooperation between the Town of Beloit Police Department, the Beloit Police Department, the Rock County Sheriff's Office, the Wisconsin Department of Justice, Division of Criminal Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Illinois State Police, the Iowa State Patrol, the West Branch, Iowa Police Department, and other public and private partners too numerous to mention. Special thanks to the media for assisting us in getting information out about Kayden's disappearance, and to the Town of Beloit Fire Department who assisted with this investigation.
Chief, how close was this discovery of the little boy to where Kristen Smith was contacted on Thursday?
It was in that general area.
Is she now being charged in connection with the child's disappearance?
What we're going to be doing is currently we're going to have the Rock County District Attorney as well as the U.S. Attorney are going to be sitting down here obviously in the very near future discussing what charges either locally or federally that they will be pursuing in this matter.
Do you have any indication from Ms. Smith as to, or assuming she's the one who took the boy from the home, why she has done it?
Well, again, right now this investigation is ongoing. She remains a person of interest, and we're not to comment on whether or not what motives anyone might have for taking an infant. Really wouldn't be prudent at this time.
But was there a confession made to the West Branch Police Department or any law enforcement?
We really don't have information relating to anything like that.
Sheriff, yesterday you said that she wasn't a person of interest, but besides that, was there ever any indication that there should be an Amber Alert? Did you have no idea that she might have him, or?
My name is G.B. Jones. I'm the acting special agent in charge of the FBI office in Milwaukee. We did pursue every conceivable lead in this to include an Amber Alert in our attempts to try to get information out about Kayden. There are particular rules that are specific to the Amber Alert as to whether or not they can be issued. And in this case, it wasn't something that we could use very effectively. So we did not use it, but we got the word out through state and local fusion centers across the upper Midwest, through all of our law enforcement partners, and clearly through the help of the media. So we feel that we were confident in getting the word out to almost as broad an audience as would be contacted by an Amber Alert.
What time was he recovered?
About 10:15 this morning.
Can you describe the search efforts that were made in that area after Smith was apprehended until the point when baby Kayden was found?
When we identified that a person left the residence in the time frame that was of interest to us, we started trying to reconstruct that travel path, or the path of travel. It traveled down through Beloit into the state of Illinois, into Iowa, and that certainly was a focus of our investigation during the course of the investigation. We did have troopers, deputy sheriffs, and police officers out all night checking every conceivable place along that route, and that was part of, I think, what led to the safe recovery today.
Officers, right now you're live on today's TMJ4. What happens now? Where does the baby go, come back here, and what can parents learn from this experience if the baby was in a bassinet in the home with the new parents, with the new mom?
Well, I can certainly speak to what happens now. Our efforts are clearly focused on reuniting mother and child, and the rest of the family members with the child. That's the immediate focus. In fact, we're taking steps right now to make sure that happens. We have spoken with the mother. She clearly knows, the family knows of this safe recovery, and she is the one that granted us permission to share with you that joyous photo. So that is our initial focus. As to lessons learned from this, I'm not prepared to comment on that. I think that's outside the scope of what our responsibilities are.
So was the baby discovered because of a search or because someone actually directed you that the baby was left at that gas station?
The baby was recovered as part of a canvass, as part of a general search. The police chief in West Branch, Iowa, was one who was checking areas right along the interstate corridor. He heard the baby's cries and recovered the baby.
Was the baby in a bassinet? Can you describe again the circumstance of the child?
The baby was found, as Chief Kopp mentioned, in a bassinet, swaddled in clothes, appeared to have been in very good health. So we don't know how long the baby's been outside. There are a lot of things that we don't know in this investigation. It will persist until we have a lot of those questions answered.
Was the baby in the gas station or left outside the gas station?
The baby was located outside, but inside this tote bag.
How lucky is it that this baby is alive?
We're all very, very fortunate that this baby is alive.
This bag, which is left, I mean, you say outside, I mean, could it have even been suspicious, like, I mean, a suspicious bag in an airport? Was it left near a trash can? Was it left near rock salt? Where was it?
The precise location near this gas station, this has now been less than an hour old, so I'm not sure that we're prepared to talk about that simply because we don't know up here. The agents and the officers that are working in our offices in Omaha, the Omaha Division, the Cedar Rapids Resident Agency, and the state and local officials are down there processing those scenes now.
Authorities say that this woman was contacted by phone on Thursday about the disappearance. Do you believe that motivated her to abandon this child there?
Our job at this time is not to ascribe any motivation at all to this, but rather to collect the facts. And that's in fact what we're trying to do here. That is certainly some conjecture that we've heard, and that will be part of our investigation.
Are there any other persons of interest you touching on the aunt, anyone else that you're considering? Or?
Again, this investigation is far from over. It really started yesterday morning, about 4:30 in the morning, and there's a lot that remains to be done in this case. And of course, we're going to continue to do that with the Town of Beloit Police Department, the Rock County Sheriff's Office, the Wisconsin Division of Criminal Investigation, and all of our other partners.
Do you believe there was another destination that was planned for this child?
Again, the investigation is early. We don't know that we have all of the answers that we're looking for in this case.
How many people do you have working on this? You've mentioned several agencies. Do you have a number?
I can say we have probably nearly 100, perhaps more than 100, between our office here in Milwaukee, the state and local partners here locally, as well as the office down in Iowa.
Is Ms. Smith cooperated with the investigation in Iowa?
Again, we're not talking to the agents who are actually working with anybody who may be down in Iowa right now. I can't characterize that, I guess. We really don't have that information right now.
Is the child on his way back, and are West Branch Police bringing him to Beloit?
No, the child will be taken for medical evaluation. In fact, that is happening right now. And then we'll make efforts to get the mother and the family reunited with the child.
You mentioned already that, I mean, it is a miracle. I mean, but this baby was, 6 days old, not 6 months old. So how amazing is it that, I mean, the baby even, had that kind of stamina to withstand being outside for however long it was?
Amazingly resilient.
What was going through your mind when, these first 24 hours were going on and you're nearing, 10 o'clock this morning? I mean, are you getting towards kind of that deadline where you start to really worry if baby Kayden is still here, still alive?
We were worried about baby Kayden from the time that 911 call came in. We never stopped worrying, we never stopped giving up hope. And it's cases like this, it's days like today that most of us do what we do. We're able to celebrate with you today the safe recovery of this child. It's miraculous.
Sorry, can you back up just a little bit? What point was she stopped yesterday in Iowa? I apologize. What time was that yesterday? And has she been in custody ever since, right?
And again, we're not prepared to characterize the status of the investigation or any details from the investigation. There has been no charge issued yet in this case. Once the charges are issued, I assure you there will be more details that will be forthcoming, and certainly those will be made available to you. But this time we just can't comment on any of that.
Was the Iowa police chief rechecking an area with this canvas today? Can you describe how this particular area, again, given the fact that this woman was taken into custody on Thursday, can you describe why this area, why the chief was there?
I think that's best left for the chief to describe as to how he got into that position. All I know is that we're celebrating him as a hero today.
And just to clarify, that's the West Branch Police Chief?
Correct.
Do you know, is there?
It is the same gas station where she was taken into custody. Was it in the parking lot area?
Again, I don't know that information. I would share that if I could, but I don't know that.
Is there any indication how long the baby was actually left outside? Do you believe the baby was left outside for a full 24 hours?
We don't know.
Mr. Jones, you actually had the unique situation. Yesterday you announced the recovery of someone's $5 million violin. Today, this is a priceless commodity for someone else. What were the challenges in this investigation? You know, I mean, who knows to look for a tote bag and think they're going to find a 6-day-old infant? What kind of searches did you do around Iowa through the highway? Because it's such a huge search area, and you're talking about an infant that's what, 6, 7, 8 pounds?
First of all, thank you for acknowledging a very successful week. We've had a great week this week. The searches were to look for anything unusual. The word that we put out, again, through state and local fusion partners, the Wisconsin Statewide Information Center coordinated much of the information that went out with the statewide information and intelligence centers down in Illinois and in Iowa. And we had a flyer out with some indications of what to look for. But really, it's left to the devices of very good, competent cops to do the right thing, to canvass an area that is of interest to us, and that's exactly what happened here.
It's also, it seems like an example, we had a lot of viewer feedback. Why so much attention over a violin, a piece of wood, even if it's worth so much money? It seems like you use just as much manpower and spending dollars to look for a 6-day-old infant.
Well, I am not prepared to prioritize a violin over a child. This absolutely will pull out all stops when we're looking for a child. And the reason the FBI works cases like this is anytime there's a child of tender years, someone under 12 years old who goes missing, we pull out all the stops. We put the right resources where those resources belong so that we can have an outcome like today.
Agent Jones, was it largely then the West Branch, Iowa Police Department that was doing this search in the area where you were focused on?
It was an interagency effort down there, coordinated by the Iowa State Patrol and the FBI office in Cedar Rapids. So I don't know how many state and local agencies. I apologize for not acknowledging them all, but it was clearly an interagency effort, a lot of state and local agencies as a part of that canvas to try to identify where the child is.
So Agent Jones, just to clarify then, did the West Branch PD either learn from Ms. Smith where the baby was? Did they get a tip from someone else? Or was it just happenstance, just luck that he checked this gas station?
My understanding was this was part of the overall canvas, not a directed search. This was information that we had put out late last night, in fact yesterday afternoon, saying check this general area, look for anything that might be out of place. And that's exactly what happened here. So it's a series of hours, a series of locations to check in kind of an area with not a lot of exits, not a lot going on in terms of activity, population, that sort of thing. It was a huge area to cover. It was covered as diligently as possible and as quickly as possible. And again, the result today just kind of speaks for itself.
This question for Chief Kopp. Chief, this is, you know, a couple of us made the mistake today of going to the city of Beloit, not the town, and I say that because it kind of underscores the fact that this is a small community. So talk about how this captivated the community and what kind of communication was there done between neighbors, and just talk about, I guess, the progression of the 24 hours.
Well, you know, this is the sort of case that no one wants to get. And as soon as the 911 call came in and we established that the baby was not in the home, it was at that point that we started contacting the neighboring agencies for assistance. And particularly with a small department like ours, we don't have the resources and the manpower that larger agencies do. And we rely on a regular basis on our partner agencies. And in this case, as Agent Jones said, we called the FBI and the Wisconsin Department of Justice right away because they have the resources to get this kind of investigation underway. And as far as the effect on the community, I don't think it matters whether it's a population of 7,500 like we have or 700,000. I think it has the same effect on the community regardless of its size.
Chief,
I
can
know
you
didn't
describe-
answer- I know you said that the baby was in excellent health, but did he suffer any sort of injury, whether bruises, cuts, or anything?
We don't have that information. We just, as I said, the EMS personnel said the baby is in excellent health.
What hospital
Okay, we have
was
one
the baby
more
taken
question,
to?
and we have pictures.
What
Chief,
hospital was
can
the
you
baby
describe
taken to?
Brittany and Bruce's reaction when you or someone else in your contingent was able to convey to them, your baby has been found, your baby is alive, your baby is safe?
I wish I could answer that, but none of us here were present when that notification was made, so I can't comment on that.
Chief, what hospital was the baby taken to?
I don't have that information.
You don't have
Okay,
that?
we have photographs available for the baby. Thank you very much. That concludes our